Are you ready to speak English? In this video, we've compiled 300 everyday English sentences that you can use in various situations. These sentences are categorized into 15 practical topics, each containing 20 commonly used sentences. Feel free to skip to any topic that interests you the most. Let's get started and enhance your English skills with these everyday sentences. Enjoy the video and happy learning! Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hello, nice to meet you. Hello, nice to meet you. Good morning. Good morning. How's it going? How's it going? What's your name? What's your name? I'm James. What about you? I'm James. What about you? How do you do? How do you do? Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. It's great to meet you. It's great to meet you. Where are you from? Where are you from? I'm from Manchester. I'm from Manchester. What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? I work as a teacher. I work as a teacher. Are you new here? Are you new here? I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot about you. How was your day? How was your day? Did you have a good weekend? Did you have a good weekend? What brings you here? What brings you here? Have you been here before? Have you been here before? Let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. I wake up at 7 a.m. every day. I wake up at 7 a.m. every day. I brush my teeth after breakfast. I brush my teeth after breakfast. I go to work by car. I go to work by car. I usually have lunch at noon. I usually have lunch at noon. I take a coffee break in the afternoon. I take a coffee break in the afternoon. I go to the gym in the evening. I go to the gym in the evening. I cook dinner at 7 p.m. I cook dinner at 7 p.m. I read a book before bed. I read a book before bed. I set my alarm for 6:30 a.m. I set my alarm for 6:30 a.m. I check my emails in the morning. I check my emails in the morning. I pick up groceries on Saturdays. I pick up groceries on Saturdays. I walk my dog after work. I walk my dog after work. I clean the house on weekends. I clean the house on weekends. I take a shower every morning. I take a shower every morning. I make my bed every day. I make my bed every day. I watch TV in the evenings. I watch TV in the evenings. I do the laundry every week. I do the laundry every week. I prepare my clothes for the next day. I prepare my clothes for the next day. I meditate for 10 minutes daily. I meditate for 10 minutes daily. I relax with a movie on Fridays. I relax with a movie on Fridays. How much does this cost? How much does this cost? Can I try this on? Can I try this on? Do you have this in a different size? Do you have this in a different size? Where is the fitting room? Where is the fitting room? I'm just looking, thank you. I'm just looking, thank you. Can I pay by credit card? Can I pay by credit card? Do you have any discounts today? Do you have any discounts today? I'd like to return this item. I'd like to return this item. Can I get a refund? Can I get a refund? Where can I find the electronics section? Where can I find the electronics section? I'm looking for a gift. I'm looking for a gift. Is this on sale? Is this on sale? Can you gift wrap this for me? Can you gift wrap this for me? I need a receipt, please. I need a receipt, please. Are there any special offers? Are there any special offers? What's your exchange policy? What's your exchange policy? How do I get to the checkout? How do I get to the checkout? I'd like to buy this. I'd like to buy this. Can you help me find the shoe section? Can you help me find the shoe section? Do you have any recommendations? Do you have any recommendations? Can I see the menu, please? Can I see the menu, please? I'd like to make a reservation. I'd like to make a reservation. Do you have any vegetarian options? Do you have any vegetarian options? What's today's special? What's today's special? I'll have the salmon, please. I'll have the salmon, please. Can I get this without onions? Can I get this without onions? Could we get the check, please? Could we get the check, please? Is service included in the bill? Is service included in the bill? I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. Can I get a glass of water? Can I get a glass of water? How spicy is this dish? How spicy is this dish? I'd like my steak medium rare. I'd like my steak medium rare. Can we get a table by the window? Can we get a table by the window? Could you please bring more bread? Could you please bring more bread? Can you recommend a good wine? Can you recommend a good wine? I'd like to order for takeout. I'd like to order for takeout. Is there a kids menu? Is there a kids menu? Can you split the bill? Can you split the bill? I'd like my coffee with cream and sugar. I'd like my coffee with cream and sugar. Could you make it a bit less salty? Could you make it a bit less salty? How do I get to the nearest train station? How do I get to the nearest train station? Can you show me on the map? Can you show me on the map? Is this the right bus for Liverpool? Is this the right bus for Liverpool? How long does it take to get there? How long does it take to get there? Where is the closest hotel? Where is the closest hotel? Can you recommend a good restaurant nearby? Can you recommend a good restaurant nearby? How much is a taxi to Brighton? How much is a taxi to Brighton? I'm looking for the tourist information centre. I'm looking for the tourist information centre. What time does the last train leave? What time does the last train leave? Where can I buy a ticket? Where can I buy a ticket? Is it safe to walk around here at night? Is it safe to walk around here at night? How far is it from here to Sheffield? How far is it from here to Sheffield? Can you call a taxi for me? Can you call a taxi for me? Where can I rent a bike? Where can I rent a bike? I'm lost. Can you help me? I'm lost. Can you help me? Is there a map available? Is there a map available? What's the best way to get to the airport? What's the best way to get to the airport? Can you tell me how to get to the museum? Can you tell me how to get to the museum? Are there any guided tours available? Are there any guided tours available? Can you give me directions to Southampton? Can you give me directions to Southampton? I'm feeling sick. Can I see a doctor? I'm feeling sick. Can I see a doctor? Where is the nearest pharmacy? Where is the nearest pharmacy? I have a headache. What should I take? I have a headache. What should I take? Is there a hospital nearby? Is there a hospital nearby? I need an ambulance. I need an ambulance. I've had an accident. Can you help? I've had an accident. Can you help? Do you know any good clinics in this area? Do you know any good clinics in this area? I'm allergic to penicillin. I'm allergic to penicillin. Can I get a prescription refill? Can I get a prescription refill? How do I get to the emergency room? How do I get to the emergency room? I need to see a specialist. I need to see a specialist. What are the symptoms of the flu? What are the symptoms of the flu? I think I need stitches. I think I need stitches. Can you recommend a good dentist? Can you recommend a good dentist? I've been feeling anxious lately. I've been feeling anxious lately. Is there a walk-in clinic around here? Is there a walk-in clinic around here? What should I do if I have a fever? What should I do if I have a fever? Can you help me with this injury? Can you help me with this injury? I need some over-the-counter medicine. I need some over-the-counter medicine. How can I prevent getting sick? How can I prevent getting sick? I have a meeting at 10 a.m. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. Can you send me that report? Can you send me that report? I need to schedule a conference call. I need to schedule a conference call. What's the deadline for this project? What's the deadline for this project? Can we discuss this over lunch? Can we discuss this over lunch? I'll follow up on this tomorrow. I'll follow up on this tomorrow. I'm working on a presentation for next week. I'm working on a presentation for next week. Could you review this document? Could you review this document? I'll be out of the office next Friday. I'll be out of the office next Friday. Do you have any updates on this? Do you have any updates on this? I'm looking forward to collaborating on this. I'm looking forward to collaborating on this. Can you give me an overview of the project? Can you give me an overview of the project? I need to finalize the budget by Friday. I need to finalize the budget by Friday. How do I access the company's intranet? How do I access the company's intranet? I'd like to request a day off. I'd like to request a day off. Can you help me with this task? Can you help me with this task? I'm preparing for a performance review. I'm preparing for a performance review. Can we set up a meeting to discuss this? Can we set up a meeting to discuss this? I'm in charge of organising the event. I'm in charge of organising the event. I need to update my contact information. I need to update my contact information. Are you free this weekend? Are you free this weekend? Let's go out for dinner. Let's go out for dinner. How about meeting for coffee tomorrow? How about meeting for coffee tomorrow? Would you like to join us for a movie? Would you like to join us for a movie? Do you want to hang out later? Do you want to hang out later? I'm planning a party next week. I'm planning a party next week. Let's catch up sometime soon. Let's catch up sometime soon. Can we meet at 3 p.m? Can we meet at 3 p.m? Are you available for a get-together? Are you available for a get-together? I'd love to come. What time? I'd love to come. What time? Can we do it another day? Can we do it another day? Let's make plans for the weekend. Let's make plans for the weekend. Do you want to join us for a hike? Do you want to join us for a hike? I'm hosting a barbecue this Saturday. I'm hosting a barbecue this Saturday. How about a game night this Friday? How about a game night this Friday? I'd be happy to join you for lunch. I'd be happy to join you for lunch. Can we reschedule our meeting? Can we reschedule our meeting? Let's go to the beach this summer. Let's go to the beach this summer. I'm interested in going to the concert. I'm interested in going to the concert. Are you up for a road trip? Are you up for a road trip? How do I reset my password? How do I reset my password? My phone isn't working properly. My phone isn't working properly. Can you help me with this software? Can you help me with this software? I need to update my operating system. I need to update my operating system. Is there a Wi-Fi connection here? Is there a Wi-Fi connection here? How do I connect to Bluetooth? How do I connect to Bluetooth? My laptop won't turn on. My laptop won't turn on. Can you show me how to use this app? Can you show me how to use this app? I need more storage on my phone. I need more storage on my phone. How do I install this program? How do I install this program? What's the best antivirus software? What's the best antivirus software? Can you help me set up my new printer? Can you help me set up my new printer? I'm having trouble with my internet connection. I'm having trouble with my internet connection. How do I back up my data? How do I back up my data? I need to charge my tablet. I need to charge my tablet. Can you recommend a good headset? Can you recommend a good headset? How do I transfer files from my phone to my computer? How do I transfer files from my phone to my computer? I've lost my USB drive. I've lost my USB drive. How do I recover a deleted file? How do I recover a deleted file? Can you teach me how to use this feature? Can you teach me how to use this feature? What time does the next bus arrive? What time does the next bus arrive? How do I get to the train station? How do I get to the train station? I need to fill up the petrol tank. I need to fill up the petrol tank. Can you check the oil level? Can you check the oil level? Where can I park my car? Where can I park my car? Is there a toll on this road? Is there a toll on this road? How much is a one-way ticket? How much is a one-way ticket? I need to renew my driver's license. I need to renew my driver's license. Can I get a ride to the airport? Can I get a ride to the airport? How do I change a flat tire? How do I change a flat tire? What's the fastest route to London? What's the fastest route to London? Is there a car rental agency nearby? Is there a car rental agency nearby? I'm having trouble starting my car. I'm having trouble starting my car. Can you recommend a good mechanic? Can you recommend a good mechanic? Where is the nearest petrol station? Where is the nearest petrol station? How do I use the public transportation system? How do I use the public transportation system? Can I pay for parking by phone? Can I pay for parking by phone? What's the best way to avoid traffic? What's the best way to avoid traffic? Is there a bike path in this area? Is there a bike path in this area? How do I get to the car park? How do I get to the car park? Is this apartment available for rent? Is this apartment available for rent? How much is the monthly rent? How much is the monthly rent? Can I see the property? Can I see the property? What's included in the rent? What's included in the rent? Are utilities included in the price? Are utilities included in the price? When is the lease start date? When is the lease start date? Can I get a copy of the lease agreement? Can I get a copy of the lease agreement? Is there parking available? Is there parking available? How do I report a maintenance issue? How do I report a maintenance issue? Can I have pets in this apartment? Can I have pets in this apartment? Are there any nearby amenities? Are there any nearby amenities? What's the deposit amount? What's the deposit amount? Can I renew the lease after it expires? Can I renew the lease after it expires? Is there a laundry facility on site? Is there a laundry facility on site? What's the neighbourhood like? What's the neighbourhood like? How do I terminate my lease early? How do I terminate my lease early? Are there any restrictions on decorating? Are there any restrictions on decorating? When is the rent due? When is the rent due? Can I get a reference from previous tenants? Can I get a reference from previous tenants? How do I contact the landlord? How do I contact the landlord? What time does the class start? What time does the class start? How do I enroll in this course? How do I enroll in this course? Is there a textbook required for this class? Is there a textbook required for this class? Can I get a syllabus for the course? Can I get a syllabus for the course? What's the deadline for the assignment? What's the deadline for the assignment? Where can I find the library? Where can I find the library? Do you offer online classes? Do you offer online classes? Can I get help with my homework? Can I get help with my homework? What are the requirements for graduation? What are the requirements for graduation? Is there a study group I can join? Is there a study group I can join? How do I contact my professor? How do I contact my professor? When is the next exam? When is the next exam? Can I take this class? Can I take this class? How do I access the course materials online? How do I access the course materials online? Are there any scholarships available? Are there any scholarships available? What's the best way to prepare for the test? What's the best way to prepare for the test? Where is the Student Support Centre? Where is the Student Support Centre? Can I request a tutor? Can I request a tutor? How do I drop a class? How do I drop a class? Is there an orientation for new students? Is there an orientation for new students? I'd like to open a new account. I'd like to open a new account. How do I check my account balance? How do I check my account balance? Can I get a loan application? Can I get a loan application? What's the interest rate for this loan? What's the interest rate for this loan? How do I transfer money to another account? How do I transfer money to another account? I need to report a lost credit card. I need to report a lost credit card. Can I withdraw cash from my savings account? Can I withdraw cash from my savings account? What's the minimum balance requirement? What's the minimum balance requirement? How do I set up online banking? How do I set up online banking? Can I get a copy of my bank statement? Can I get a copy of my bank statement? What fees are associated with this account? What fees are associated with this account? I'd like to close my account. I'd like to close my account. How do I apply for a credit card? How do I apply for a credit card? Can I get a wire transfer? Can I get a wire transfer? How do I dispute a charge? How do I dispute a charge? What's the process for a mortgage application? What's the process for a mortgage application? How can I increase my credit limit? How can I increase my credit limit? I need to set up automatic bill payments. I need to set up automatic bill payments. How do I order more checks? How do I order more checks? Can you help me with budgeting advice? Can you help me with budgeting advice? What's playing at the cinema? What's playing at the cinema? Do you have tickets for the concert? Do you have tickets for the concert? Can you recommend a good book? Can you recommend a good book? Where can I find local events? Where can I find local events? What's a good restaurant in town? What's a good restaurant in town? Are there any festivals this weekend? Are there any festivals this weekend? I'm looking for a new TV show to watch. I'm looking for a new TV show to watch. Can you suggest a fun activity for kids? Can you suggest a fun activity for kids? Where can I buy tickets for the theatre? Where can I buy tickets for the theatre? What's the best place to go hiking? What's the best place to go hiking? Do you have any recommendations for weekend getaways? Do you have any recommendations for weekend getaways? Where can I find live music? Where can I find live music? What's a popular board game? What's a popular board game? Are there any art galleries nearby? Are there any art galleries nearby? What's the latest video game release? What's the latest video game release? Can you tell me about the local sports teams? Can you tell me about the local sports teams? Where can I find a good place for brunch? Where can I find a good place for brunch? Where is a good place to go for a romantic dinner? Where is a good place to go for a romantic dinner? Can you recommend a new podcast? Can you recommend a new podcast? Where can I find outdoor activities? Where can I find outdoor activities? I need to fix a leaky tap. I need to fix a leaky tap. How do I paint a room? How do I paint a room? Can you help me install a shelf? Can you help me install a shelf? What tools do I need for this project? What tools do I need for this project? How do I patch a hole in the wall? How do I patch a hole in the wall? I'm looking for ideas to remodel my kitchen. I'm looking for ideas to remodel my kitchen. Can you recommend a good paint colour? Can you recommend a good paint colour? How do I assemble this furniture? How do I assemble this furniture? What's the best way to clean carpets? What's the best way to clean carpets? Can I get advice on landscaping? Can I get advice on landscaping? How do I fix a broken tile? How do I fix a broken tile? What's the best way to organise a wardrobe? What's the best way to organise a wardrobe? I need to replace a light fixture. I need to replace a light fixture. Can you help me with wallpapering? Can you help me with wallpapering? How do I build a raised garden bed? How do I build a raised garden bed? What's the best method for removing stains? What's the best method for removing stains? How do I install a new door handle? How do I install a new door handle? Can you help me with electrical wiring? Can you help me with electrical wiring? What materials do I need for a DIY project? What materials do I need for a DIY project? How do I check if the paint is dry? How do I check if the paint is dry?